gaming morning to you. Whether you're tossing dice, flipping pages, stroking that brush, or mashing buttons, we got your 6 on everything gaming. My name is Michael Smith, and to the right of me,
I'm Eddie Focus.
And as always, we are here in Basement Quest, bringing you the newest and greatest stuff, all gaming and geeky. So we've been discussing. We just had our first episode, the great debate. We really hope that you guys enjoyed it, and we hope that you guys left.
We
us
had a
some
lot of fun
feedback.
with that.
Yeah, we hope we left them some feedback, and we're going to be answering some questions later on down the line with stuff like that. Today, we want to hit on Warhammer 40K, and more importantly, just the 40K aspect of it. I'm not going to get into the fantasy rules just yet. The reason being is with 6th edition being out right now for 40K, I feel like it's a good thing to kind of stroke up on. And the Age of Sigmar, as it were, I don't have a whole lot of experience in yet. I am looking forward into like kind of working on an army and stuff like that. So my knowledge of Age of Sigmar right now is old school, what we used to call fantasy Warhammer, and that was a whole other beast. It's from what's going on now. Age of Sigmar, in case you don't know, is set up more like 40K. So you have the movement. You don't have to keep that whole tight formation stuff anymore, and it's
Well, they're probably responding to the consumer demand because I'm pretty sure a lot of people are like, "Why can't this work more like 40K?"
Exactly, and 40K is a much easier system. It's a much more fluid system. For those of you that are on our webpage right now, we post a lot of videos on there. We do have on our website some pictures and stuff of us doing our big games out there.
You just had a good game.
Yeah. And actually,
definitely subscribe to the Instagram because that's where a lot of the pictures are.
That's right now.
And they really get in there with they have some of the best terrain I've seen.
we do a great job.
We'll get into a lot more as the show progresses. We'll start talking about more terrain stuff because it's huge right now. It's not enough to just whip out the graph paper and draw it. Like, people are really into the terrain, and with some of the tools being more affordable with the printing and everything, the terrain is incredible. You don't have to break the bank on it anymore.
I love it. And just like you said, you used to have to break the bank for this stuff. For anything anything good, and especially if it had the Games Workshop name on it. If it had a Games Workshop terrain, you couldn't walk away with less than $40. And you're talking maybe a building. Right. Just a building. And then you still have to build that thing. You still have to paint it. There's still to make it aesthetic and what we like to call aesthetically pleasing out there. You want to have it. But that game, believe it or not.
Like we said in the last show, too, thank God for plastic.
Yes. Oh, my God.
The pewter was killing us.
And then they tried to change it to white metal. Remember that white metal, which was worse than pewter? It was super soft.
Yeah.
So, like, that thing, which if you put it in your thing, it would bend. Forget it. It was just chipped. It was bad. The entire Sisters of Battle was made in that white metal, and
I get the idea. You still want it to be that same quality, but you don't want to spend a lot of money on it because the manufacturer of some of these things, like you're making the molds and you're pouring the pewter.
And don't get me wrong, Games Workshop has the most beautiful models.
Oh yeah,
beautiful. I mean, if you've never picked up the game. If you've never, I know you know what a Space Marine is. I know you've heard of
most people have never played straight Warhammer 40K. Might have played Space Hulk or
they've seen these iconic
Blood Bowl.
Right, they've seen these iconic
games.
characters, and
or you played the video games, which I do quite frequently.
Space Marine was huge. Yeah. That was I know it was a fanboy game, but there were some people out there that never even knew what a Space Marine was. Right, and I still have it. I love that game, man. Love that. Grabbing that Thunderhammer the first time. Oh, it's great. But no, I'm not. The problem with 40K is the price.
It's an investment.
The price of these models.
Any tactical strategy game, if you get into it, whether you're into the World War II stuff or whatever, you're going to invest a lot of money because it's not Monopoly. You're not opening up the box and you're ready to go. You're going to build an army.
And I hope,
build an army.
Hope you guys do take the time because, it's like when my son first started doing this, he wasn't that great at painting, but he took the time to paint it, and it was still his army. And now he's getting a lot better. Those models are coming out fucking beautiful. But if he didn't take the time to become that painter, to make those models his own, it's a different system. And I do got to admit, there's a lot of people out there, and you guys listening now, maybe you're one of them that says, I just don't understand the pricing difference, Mike. How come a squad of Marines costs me $40 and I only get 5 of them, but then the sergeant itself is $25 and you only get 1 of them? And the reason is they know you have to buy 4 squads of Marines. They know that's your meat and potatoes.
And look at the details too. So the special character details, if you really look at them,
beautiful.
Like I used to have a Space Wolf army, so Ragnar Blackmane.
Then.
Yeah, Ragnar Blackmane was the it. And he wasn't just another Space Marine. He was wearing. He had the wolf coats
pelts,
all over him.
They were flowing in the wind.
You're easily probably in that one alone. I think you helped me paint that, or you painted it for me. I couldn't do it. And I think you're looking at least 10 colors.
Yes.
And blends to make that look proper.
Make it look decent. Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas the Space Marine Army, and I'm not knocking it, is cookie cutter and, just...
And even just a regular wolf. You can get away with just doing 6 colors.
You pair the different weapons to your different Space Marine just to make them look unique, and that's it.
Exactly. So your character is what's supposed to be there. And like I said, I'm not knocking these models because these models are beautiful. The terrains are beautiful. What they're coming out with now. And before, like this was back Rogue Trader is how long I've been playing it for, people. When you bought these models back then, you would only get a specific amount of arms, a specific amount of shoulders, guns. They would give you 0 for options. And now 40K has gotten so good, and Age of Sigmar too, that when you buy a box, it's not just for one thing. You can make 2 different things out of this one box. So, and they give you so much bits that if you have some extra parts left over, you might be able to make something cool.
We should bring up too, so when you're talking a Space Marine set, a lot of the times these sets are for, you have this one Space Marine set that can be any chapter, but then you'll have the chapter-specific Space Marine sets, which cost a little more. And those are ones you want
to go for because they have the icons. They're already built into the freaking shoulder pads.
Those will cost a little more than your straight Space Army set because they're going to put more details into those to make more sense. So if you're Blood Angels, Ultramarines, or Space Wolves, or whatever.
They do have this thing now, which is really cool. It's called Start Collecting.
Yeah.
And they're only $80. And you get like $150 worth of product.
Yes.
It's really worth it. And they're army specific. Start collecting Blood Angels. Start collecting Space Wolves. And the Space Wolf one they have is the guy that's on that chariot. Oh my God, with the wolves on the front. Like, beautiful fucking model, dude. I mean, he's like, raw. He's got the axe on it. Just the face. He's got the fang. You can see the fucking fangs, dude. We have absolutely 0 wrong with 40K and their models. The price and everything else, how they make it, they know there's no competition out there.
No. Well, it's all proprietary.
Right.
There's nobody else making these models.
Exactly.
And I don't even think you can get a hold of the 3D files for it.
You can. I found some stuff out there. They're called, instead of Tau, they're called the Greater Good Aliens. And instead of Eldar, they're called Space Elves. And they do change them a little bit, but guess what they're doing?
Space does not encourage the bootlegging of miniatures.
But guess what they do? They still charge you almost as much, dude. So you're not saving any money going and buying these files.
No, then you buy the materials.
I was going to say,
and
granted,
3D printed materials aren't as solid.
No.
Usually you got to be very careful with those miniatures. And you're definitely not going to change the poses or anything.
No, you're not going to get the bits. You're not going to get the extra. It is worth spending the money. And especially if it's going to be I'm going to warn you, once you buy one army, you're going to get addicted. And once that army is done, you're going to want to play a different army. And once it's complete, by all means, go on to it.
Just imagine too, like painting these miniatures. Like when I did do it, was kind of relaxing.
It's very relaxing.
It's very relaxing, and
a lot of people on Instagram. We follow a few of them. Some fantastics. Tina's Tiny World.
Oh yeah,
she is. If you guys haven't subscribed to her,
Instagram, some of the product that people are pumping out is beautiful.
And when I want some inspiration, that's what I do. I go online. I'll go to Instagram. I'll go to some of these videos and watch these techniques. And the paints now with the washes, the inks, all these different things that they have make it so easy to make shit look absolutely fantastic that it really, if you just set a couple nights a week aside to just painting these things, painting these miniatures, you could be done with your army in about 6 months and it looking decent and you feeling good. That's the other thing. You'll feel good about putting that money. I'll tell you what, dude. I would much rather face somebody that threw at least 3 to 4 colors on their whole army and have it look look good, but not professionally painted, than facing what we like to call a bunch of gray tones.
Yeah,
and that's just primed models, black prime or gray prime, whatever they primed it up. And sometimes, and I'm guilty for it because I am working on my Tau army right now. I have my Khorne army's been done for a long time.
If you go on our website, basementquest.com, you will see that Mike has retired from Space Marines because his son has surpassed him.
He is such an animal. That kid is taking these rules to the next level. He is
whooping ass everywhere, man.
He's good.
Couldn't be prouder.
No, absolutely. He's moved his gaming up. And that's what I love about 40K. From when I used to play this as Rogue Trader and going through the things, we've been through a lot of races. I
still have my old Space Wolf Codex, by
the
way.
Yeah, you were doing Space Wolves.
I was thumbing through it the other day, and it was like, I love it.
We've lost races. We've gained races. The squats. The old dwarf race. You don't see them anymore. I've heard they're coming back, and they might be a part of the IG group, so that would be pretty cool.
It blew my mind because I still play like some of the games, the Dawn of War games. Yes. They add these races to them, and I'm like, wow.
What? Holy cow, they haven't had it forever.
I'm tempted.
Yes.
I was like, I'm tempted to build that Space Wolf army
Eldar.
back.
I still love Eldar.
So especially if there's some Junior Smith out there whooping ass. I think I might have to.
And then now he's getting all, he's getting into these Necrons, which Necrons, one of the new armies that came out, Tau, one of the new armies that just came, well, not just came out, they've been out for a while.
Necrons interest me because I remember back when I was playing, Chaos was it. Chaos was the thing.
It was, and then Necrons came along, and they took it by storm, and I'll tell you what, now they're actually getting, their thing when the Necrons first came out, which I kind of thought was all right, but it wasn't all right, they didn't have heroes. Because the whole idea, the lore behind the Necrons is fucking super cool. So these guys, these humans like us, they started dabbling with technology. And the only way that they figured that they can become better is to not become pretty much human anymore. That's the only way you could live on longer. Well, the Cetan gods came down, and keep in mind, these are ancient entities, ancient beings from like a long, long ago. And pretty much they're tainted, in their own way. They trick this race into thinking that they're going to become immortal. So they take their souls, they take their life force, and they turn them into these Necron warriors, these necrotic things. So their whole idea of their personalities, their persona, was gone. Like they were wiped from existence. So I never really liked the idea that there's no characters in there. And if there were, they didn't come around that often. They were a whim. The Necrons have evolved so much now that they're their own race. They have their own heroes. They have their own, and they're incredible.
It sounds to me the initial idea was, let's not create a specific chapter or anything. Let's create like this force of nature.
Right.
But people were like, it's got to have some kind of heroes in it. So they probably
something. Because otherwise you start losing it. It's like, what am I even using these guys for?
One thing I've always loved about the whole story of Warhammer 40K, because you got the Imperial Army, which they're completely human. They obviously fight whatever, they're part of the Imperium. Yeah. So Space Marines and the Imperial Army are kind of connected.
Right, absolutely.
And then you got the Space Marines that have bonded.
For the Emperor.
Right. So the Space Marines have bonded with their technology to the point where they're mostly machine.
And now with the new rules, they've evolved even further into these Primaris Marines. Right. Which are Marines beyond Marines. So, and you have some of these heroes now, which I wrote an article about, which I blogged on, was Magnus Carger, who was the main guy, the main chapter, the chapter master, of the Ultramarines. He was a normal Marine, and he just got this stuff to make him a Primaris Marine. So you weren't supposed to do this before. They're doing it now, and it makes him even that much more of an uber character,
So, because like some of these, so with the Space Wolves, it's a chapter that have bonded with wolves.
Yeah.
So they have wolf blood in their veins.
And it's to be said that they're brought up on a planet that is all ice, Fenris. It's a very harsh environment, very Viking lore. I find there's
some of it. Yep.
A lot of their ruins and stuff taken from the Vikings.
What's the story? Beowulf.
Yes, Savage.
A lot of Beowulf and
Savage. Yeah. That's what I see in these guys.
And the one thing I've always loved is it's always been kind of, they didn't really call them heroes back then. They were like just commanders.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And it was very centered around the commander giving more power to the ones underneath it. So like Ragnar had the Howl. We would do the Howl, and it would give you an advantage in your entire army. And
that was cool.
Yeah. So I remember going against Chaos, our buddy Allen's Chaos, and it was like two immovable objects, and it just went on for hours. But I think that also had to do with the fact that we were too good with the rules yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, but so I'd love to have a rematch there. But
and it should be said, guys, that if you are just new to this game too, you got to understand that these games will take an afternoon. Be prepared to sit down and play for 5 to 6 hours.
Yeah. I mean, you can do skirmishes, which are shorter.
Yeah, 750. But let's be honest. Why are you even breaking out the miniatures and the models and the terrain for a 750 game that's only going to take you about an hour and a half to play?
Well, that's one of those. Let's hurry up and do a quick skirmish before my wife wakes up.
Right, no, that's true too. But for me, when I want to bring out as much of my shit that I have. Oh yeah, I want my table to be full of my goodies. I want you to see.
We're into the epic war,
yes,
like ongoing wars,
and just like I was saying before, this battle that we just had with Alex, it was me and Brian versus Alex. Alex. The kid still amazes me. Using two armies.
These are all armies. Our gaming group.
Yep.
So we'll reference them a lot.
And Alex is also my son. But he's using 2 separate armies. And we played 7 rounds. And after 7 rounds, 8 hours of gaming, and it was 21 to 22. So a total of 43 victory points. It came down to 1 dice roll. And it was Alex. If he rolled a 1 or a 2, we tied. If he rolled... No, we won. If he rolled a 4 and a 3 and a 4, we tied. And if he rolled a 5 and a 6, he won. And he rolled a 1 and a 2, and that's how he got his final. But that game came down to that dice roll. And there was the first 2 rounds, we obliterated him. Then the 3rd round, he took out some major points on us. 4th round, we kind of owned. 5th and 6th, he destroyed us. So it was like... It was such a perfect game, and it was so fun. And if you guys play this and you get a good gaming group and you get somebody who we like to, like we like to say, not a whiner, like, because it's still a game.
Feelings you're going to win, you're going to lose.
Right, feelings can still be hurt.
Sometimes you're going to tie.
And go ahead and read. Like I said, I can't play Space Marines no mo because there is a lot of passion and there's a lot of disappointment in myself as well as knowing that things could have been different.
Personally, for me... Like, I try not to whine, but personally for me, like, ties piss me off more than losing.
I hear you.
I hate unresolved
conflict. It is, and you're right. It is an unresolved conflict.
Right. Because, it's like we have certain unresolved conflict in Dungeons & Dragons that I'm hoping to finish one day.
Yes, you will.
But, like, yeah, so ties or where there's no, like, clear-cut winner, loser, it's almost like it's not finished.
And see, I will say, with the new edition of Warhammer 40K, they have this thing called tactical objectives now, where you get a deck of cards. You don't even have to get the cards. The cards make it easier, obviously, and they do.
The cards are neat.
They nickel and dime you for everything. They do, but the cards are worth it because you have your stratagems in there. You have your tactical objectives in there, and if you have psychic abilities, you have the psychic ability cards, which are there, and you can put them next to your character, blah, blah, blah. So that's really, really cool. So rarely, very rarely now, do you see a tie with these tactical objectives.
Yeah.
The problem is when you get 2 good players that know how to do tactical objectives, it comes right down to the wire. And that's how I really feel like every game should be. It shouldn't be a blowout.
There should be objectives.
Blowouts suck to me. Those are the worst games to me. Yeah. Blowouts. Like Alex, not to cut you off, but just to let you know real quick, Alex, we were at a tournament one day, and I'll never forget, I was using my talent, he was using Blood Angels. And the other guy had Chaos. And it was weird because he decided that he was going to run all Dreadnoughts. It was a themed army. And I told the guy, I was like, dude, Dreadnoughts are good. The thing about this edition now, when you played, Dreadnoughts had an armor.
Yeah.
Like everything else. And if you broke through that, you would get, it's either be a minor wound or a major wound, and then you would have to roll on it. Well, now Dreadnoughts have wounds, and vehicles have wounds now. But as a vehicle drops in wounds, its profile also can drop. A Dreadnought, no. A Dreadnought can go to the last wound and still be packing. So it's a powerful addition. It's a good addition.
Yeah. The movement was terrible.
It still is. It still is. They're not
really slow.
Right. They're not. Yeah, exactly. They're not.
And they had to walk around most terrain.
Pretty much. Yeah, they can't go through it. Right. So he did it all. Looked nice. The Dreadnoughts were painted. Everything looked nice.
I'm still Team Bjorn the Fellhand.
Yeah, he is a badass Dreadnought. Still alive, by the way. He's still very much kicking.
Two now, I think.
Yeah.
Two
Dreadnoughts. Yeah, but the other one, I believe, was he was part of the Youngbloods there. He died really young, and they ended up making him a Dreadnought. And he's a powerful Dreadnought, too, now. But He ended up getting through a first round, and I was by my second round. All of a sudden, Alex is standing next to me. Then I'm like, what is not your turn? No, I'm done. Can I get some money to go get some food? I was like, what do you mean you're done? I said, he fucking wiped you with dreadnoughts? Nah. You wiped him with dreadnoughts? Yeah. I was like, what? My son
I'm telling you, this kid,
wiped him with a squadron. I mean, it was this nice army. He had a lot of those the flyers, the fallen angel guys. Oh my God, he wiped him. And this guy was like my age. And I felt this pain later in life. But this guy was so pissed off. Like, I think he wanted to fight my son. Like, he was mad. But those are the worst games for me. Blowouts.
Well, here's the thing, and I'm not trying to personally attack the guy, but when you play that stupidly,
that is stupid.
There's no.
And I even told him, I was like, "Come on, that's a gimmick army.
There's no strategy.
That's a gimmick army. You wanted to make an army that just had dreadnoughts.
That's a blunt force trauma army. So you just want to get few hits in, but you want them to be hard.
Yes.
So granted, hard hitting army, but if you got a mix army and you got a lot of like, let's say the vehicles and stuff. I like to call them the stick and move figures, where you're going in, stick, move.
Yep.
You can win like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You really can. And with a dreadnought, which is slow as hell, unless you got a carrier dropping it into the middle of, unless you can drop it into the middle of the thick of it, which that's not going to.
You can, but it costs you a lot.
It does. But that's what I'm saying. But if all you have is dreadnoughts,
you have to be able to do that.
Yeah. So.
And then think about that. Now you're spending more points to make them more mobile. You know what I'm saying? So is it worth it? I mean,
obviously,
and they're expensive as it is.
Obviously, I'm going to speak from the point of view of Space Marine because it's all I ever played. So you got Space Marines coming in, maybe you got some Terminators in the backup, 1, maybe 2 dreadnoughts, depending how big the war is.
Yeah,
that's the way to do it because the dreadnought is supposed to be support. It's not really an offensive weapon.
Yes.
At least I've never been able to use it.
Well, Bjorn is because he's hand to hand. So
he's got that claw.
You want to get him into hand to hand as soon as possible because all he has is that fucking heavy flamer, which
but maybe against
and
other
even Blood
dreadnoughts
Angels,
other
Blood
dreadnoughts,
Angels, they have the Furiosos, and the Furiosos are two-handed.
You could still surround Bjorn with Terminators and just peg the hell out of him.
Yeah.
And he's going to fall.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yes, you're right.
Again, you can't be stupid with these dreadnoughts. No.
It's just like Terminators. Terminators only have a 2+ save, 5+ invulnerable save, 2 wounds.
Right.
And you think that's great, but when you have 60 fusion shot, or even say 60 lasgun shots, hitting on 3s, wounding on 5s, you're still getting, say, 10 through.
Right.
And you believe me, when you're rolling 10 dice and you need 2s, yes, sometimes you throw down 10 dice and there's all 2s or better, and you're like, woo, the hero. But sometimes, just sometimes, you roll them 10 dice and you look down and there's 5 1s. And when a squad of Terminators that cost 300 points at 2 wounds each, 5 wounds, you're pulling 2.5 of those guys away, that hurts. And that was a unit of just las guns, maybe 3 IG guys just firing at you, or orcs, or something. Tau, they're even doing more because their strength is 5. So now they're hitting you on 4s, and then they're wounding you on 3s.
Yeah.
So that number goes up a little bit more.
Because I should say, like when I was playing, and I had the heavy artillery guys.
The long fangs.
I had better luck with them.
I do too.
With the Terminators.
I do too.
And especially so, like I would have eaten the Dreadnought guy's lunch.
I think
here's the thing. I wouldn't have even moved forward.
Nope.
I would have sat there and I would have just kept hitting with that artillery.
It's pretty much what Alex did.
Until
he let him move forward.
He got there.
Yep.
And then I'm going to Terminator the hell out of you.
Yeah, he just did too many wounds on the guy, and the guy was like, I can see.
I might lose half the guys on the board, but I'm going to win in the end.
Yeah, but you're losing what's meant to be lost. Your infantry and shit like that you do put out in the front. Like that. That's meant to happen. And to be honest with you, with the 6th edition, I keep getting missed. D&D, I always miss these editions up because
we play too much.
They're right. Yeah, they're right next to each other. And as a matter of fact, I think it might even be 7th edition at this point. But Terminators are just they're not worth it. They're not worth the points. They're not worth what they used to be. And that's sad because...
I think here's the thing, and you can kind of tell by the way they were created, they were more effective against Gene Stealers.
Space Hulk tight quarters, tight quarter environments.
Tight quarters where you don't have a lot of room to move, but you need to be able to take like several hits.
At least a couple of hits, right?
And the Gene Stealers, which are claws, and they, I think they used to
still
spit
are,
something.
Dude. Yeah,
so
they're more. They're vicious.
Basically, they're more effective to get a bunch of Gene Stealers on you, and you kind of peg them off.
My son Alex will throw about probably count on seeing 40 Gene Stealers if you face him.
I tell you though, so one of the where I think Terminators are more effective. So you have terrain with no vision, and somebody comes around the corner, and you got 3 Terminators with Gatling guns, or a heavy bolter.
Well, they got the storm bolters that they can have, which fire with the rules. Now they're firing 4 shots.
Yeah,
and that's nice, and that's just the storm bolters. Then you can have the assault cannon guy, and then he's firing 6 shots.
Right.
So yeah, they're essentially
I think they're the best in Overwatch.
And they're hitting on 3s.
Put them in Overwatch, and then have the enemy sneak around and get met with 3 Terminators in Overwatch. I think that's where they're most effective.
Well, now with the rules that it goes now, you don't have to put people in Overwatch. Overwatch is automatic.
Oh.
So they could come around the corner.
I like it.
Yeah, they could come around the corner. You can still fire at them. They assault you. Anytime something assaults you, that's when you do Overwatch.
Yeah, man.
Every enemy, every army has the ability of doing it now, which I like. Some armies are better Overwatch than others, and some are better at hand-to-hand than others. The way 40K has changed around so much, it's so much better. Heck, I got Brian Golden to play 40K. I mean, Jakers he's got an enormous, and then when I say enormous, I mean boxes.
Yeah, I think that was a big turnoff for a lot of people. Is the old rules were difficult to understand.
They were very difficult, dude.
And
they were very difficult.
To this day, I don't think we were doing it right.
No, I think like no, I can to be honest with you, no. Yeah. And it was rough. It was rough back then. They had spells, they had abilities, they had all these crazy things. Remember the cards that you had? It was confusing.
It was just like I can't hit anything. What are we missing? We have to be missing. Like I'd roll and roll and roll and roll. It's like finally I might hit something, kill one thing. It's like, I'm like, we're doing something wrong. I feel like we got these super powerful weapons and they just seem so ineffectual against everything.
I'll never forget when me and Alan first started playing, and I forget, it was something like it was like a 12-inch. It was like they could go 12 inches or something like that, but we were always making them. It was crazy. Like we
fucked up the rules. Up with the movement. It's like, oh, jeez.
Bad.
It was still fun.
It was,
but it was like, God, this is hour 8.
Yeah,
and I have killed 2 people.
We ain't got nothing going on here,
and we are not even close to the objective.
I do gotta say though, and wrap it up because we want to hit a couple of things that we found across the thing, and we're hitting up that last little thing. Wrapping up, 40K is one of those games that. It's an investment. I want you to understand. It's an investment, but it's a good investment and like
very rewarding.
It is
if you do it right.
If you do it right, and there is no better feeling than when you're unpacking your army and it is fully painted, and you are playing on a fully painted and set up terrain, and your opponent has a fully painted army, and your opponent pauses for a second and pulls out their phone and takes a picture and takes a couple pictures and comments. Oh, I like how you did. I like what you did there. Or I like how that scheme is set up like there. It's a great feeling when you're playing against somebody that appreciates what you've done and you appreciate what he's brought to the table as well. I mean,
the community is fantastic.
It is.
And, not just Warhammer, the miniature painting community in general.
I love the miniature painting community and the ideas.
And thank God for the internet, because now everyone's connected. Where before you had to go to the conferences or
loved it.
Or
you had to wait out for the books. How to paint Space Marines.
Right.
How to create Warhammer terrain.
You got the Will from Boy Meets World doing miniature painting videos. It's fantastic.
It is. It is.
And now
Will Wheaton going to some of these things, and he's playing 40K.
He does tabletop. He was playing Settlers of Catan.
He was doing the other Star Trek one there too with the that one looks pretty cool. Star Trek Federation or whatever. They have Star Trek's got a new role playing game coming out now too.
They do. Yeah, they got a role playing game out. The Starfleet Battles, which is an old school game, is still around.
Yes.
They still do stuff, but I think the Star Trek property has made its own miniature game as well.
Yes, it has. Much like the Star Wars game, that Star Wars miniature. And that game looks good too. Yep. But yeah, like you said, the internet makes it. And then that's the other thing is, before you even buy an army, the internet allows you to go on and look at that army and see how people use it. You can look up videos. All you got to do is go YouTube, Blood Angels. Boom, a whole thing of Blood Angel army combat stuff, this, that, the other thing. It makes it so easy to make things. And don't be afraid of the painting. All I got to do is say, just grab a hold of it and just do your worst. Do your worst. Because at the worst you can do is get some mineral spirits and get that old paint off and redo it again.
You can easily spray paint another,
Yeah, if it gets too many layers, like I said, you can get that stuff off. Something. Or you can just get rid of it altogether and start anew with all your new knowledge.
And you can get creative too. So let's say you have, if you do an ongoing thing and you have like a hero or a space marine that takes a certain kind of damage, you'd be like, I want to factor that into the game. Maybe do a little filing, do a little painting. You can make it your own.
Put a scar on there, yeah, absolutely. Exactly. And that's actually the more rewarding part of it. It actually took us up until now to really start doing campaigns in Warhammer 40K.
Yeah,
and that's more rewarding than anything else.
And another thing too. Broken miniatures is not necessarily a bad thing.
God,
so if one of your friends breaks one of their miniatures, like, oh damn it, be like, hey, can I have that head?
Yeah.
Take the head, put it in the hero's hand. Now he's holding up the enemy's head.
Yeah,
Come on, you can do so many cool things with these miniatures.
Yeah, conversions is number one. Conversions, I still to this day see people doing conversions, and you're like, wow.
Please, if your only exposure to the Warhammer 40K universe is the games, don't judge the whole thing on those games. Some of those games are really, like, the games are hit or miss. A lot of the games are miss.
Yes. You ain't lying. So, especially the mobile ones. The mobile ones are just trying to make money. The Space Wolf one, that wasn't bad. No, the Space Wolf one. The one where it was turn-based and you can have a squad. You can get a Terminator in the squad.
It was okay.
That wasn't bad. And, of course, the Space Hulk one that's on. The Space Hulk. I love that one. That's on Xbox and it's on Steam.
Well, the Deathwing Space Hulk game got better.
I didn't get to try that one.
I live streamed that a couple times.
Talking about the board game one.
Although, that one is probably the closest to the board game.
The one based on the board game was fantastic. I still play it to this day. They did a great job on it. They incorporated actually using the Gene Stealers, which is fun. That's a fun aspect to do.
So then there are some games that I thought were absolutely like atrocious, like the Warhammer 40K online game just turned out to be garbage, hot garbage.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name, but there's a Warhammer 40K chess game.
Oh, I remember. Yes, I forget what you're talking about.
Yeah, you can play straight chess with
just orcs. With Space Marines versus orcs.
Or there are some Warhammer rules, so even if you're like a square away from a character, you can shoot
fire. It. Yeah,
that was kind of neat. The Blood Bowl games are really popular. It's like football with some
I have Blood Bowl
Warhammer
2 on my Xbox. So
but there's been some that actually try to literally translate the Warhammer 40K game that fail short.
It's horrible. It's not a bad theory too. Like you could do it. You know what I'm saying? It's just the thing is you'd have to make it almost like StarCraft with limits.
Part of the
hard.
appeal, though, is like you said, the whole thing, collecting the army paint and stuff. I think when you strip that away and you just have this computer game,
it's just not fun.
Yeah, you're not bonding with the army.
You're not
picking this, that, and that, and other thing. That's about
just because it looks cool. The animation looks cool. That's the whole reason why you're doing it.
Don't judge the actual miniature game on a lot
and
of
the lore, guys. I'll tell you what, the lore of 40K. Some of these artists, the writers, the authors out there, they do some great jobs with these stories. And just like you said, the Space Marines alone, the factions, the stories that they have are phenomenal. They're phenomenal. From the Black Crusade to way back to the Betrayal. We're talking 30K when the Emperor was still on his feet, and the Primarchs. They're bringing the Primarchs back, for crying out loud. Bobby G is a playing character right now, dude. I use him like it's such a cool.
I should say
what a great time to be alive.
There's a couple. I think there's a couple animated movies. Just don't watch those.
Yes, no, they're bad.
I didn't like it.
They're bad.
Yeah, the animation wasn't too bad, but I was like,
no, they're great. I was like, wow, this looks great.
Yeah, but it kind of fell short.
The story is just so weak.
If you want to get into like entertainment Warhammer stuff, there's tons of novels.
Read the novels.
Hard reads.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Obviously this is a game based in Europe, the UK. That's where it came from.
Yes, I forgot. Thank you.
Yeah,
I forgot.
Very English centric.
And the rules are hard sometimes because the way that they word is very English.
Right.
Just like you said. So you can take things literal and it'll fuck the game all up.
Like if you're reading some of the books, they speak very old school English. It's almost they brought like the days of medieval Europe back into the year 40,000. So they speak like that. You know, they're for the emperor, or this thing, that.
Yes.
So it's very Europe centric. Which, well, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but if you're not used
if you're not
that
into that,
slang,
right.
if you're not used to that kind of thing, it's gonna be
You can
very
get
hard.
lost. You can get lost.
Like the orcs speak with a heavy, like
Yar.
Cockney accent.
Yeah.
So it's like, whereas the Space Marines use heavy bolters, the orcs use heavy melta gun and stuff like that. So if you get familiar with some of the European slang, and you'll have an easier time.
You will, and it is. The stories, they're rewarding, though. They're very rewarding, like I said. One of my favorite factions, and they're making a comeback, and they're actually getting the plastic, thank God, the Sisters of Battle, the Adeptus Sororitas. These freaking women are awesome, man. And the history of why they became and how they raised through the ranks.
I'm glad you said that, though. So a lot of the language in the game is really old school Latin derived, and it's beautiful. Like the way they put them together. So like they'll have the type of class. So like an Inquisitor, and then after that, I don't remember the name. They'll have the actual Latin.
Right,
version of what it's called. What it's actually called, or a derivative of Latin.
Right.
Love that.
Yeah, they do.
It just
really
adds to that whole, again, very Europe centric.
Right, the thought process that goes into it, the story that goes into it. It really, a lot of these armies, like I said, you can fall in love with them. You can fall in love with the lore. You can fall. The Eldar, they're a dying race. The whole reason why they're dying, they did it to themselves. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But you got to feel for them, because all they're trying to do at this point is survive, and they're not going to. It's already been foreseen.
What I want to know, so obviously Warhammer 40K means the year 40,000. Yeah. So what is it, the 41st millennia they call it, or something like that?
Yes, the 41st millennia.
What I want to know is what happened to other parts of the world. like we have yet to see like a Space Marine chapter that's like Mafia-esque or something, just like, hey, for the Emperor, you know?
Yeah, we see him every once in a while, but whatever. He's like Uncle Sal.
It's like, oh, great, they're here again. Yeah. It's like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, those are the Space Wolves.
Get out of here.
All right, guys. So we really hope you enjoyed our little segment on 40K. Like I said, it's really starting to pick up a lot. The new rules that they have are far from perfect. Their wording that they use is terrible, but the gaming community out there is fantastic. The tools at your disposal right now are just incredible. The models couldn't be more beautiful. The as they call it, the fine style, whatever it is.
Like the brushes, and stuff like that.
But the models, the fine cast. That's what it's called, fine cast. The details, the scales, the pennants. I mean, you can literally intricate, like the little crosses on somebody, or some of these wolves, like you said. Even just a regular guy will have like a little wolf pelt coming off of his.
They all do. Like if you get the Space Wolf centric ones,
yes,
they all do. Just like the Ultramarines.
But even like the little guys,
the religious symbolism in like the Ultramarines is like incredible.
Yeah, exactly. They all have something now that make them
the vampiric characteristics of the Blood Angels. It's like it's all there. And I mean, if you take some of the generic sets, you got to kind of make that your own. But like all the ones built for these chapters
are there,
and like obviously Chaos.
Oh my, true. Chaos is awesome. You can do anything.
So basically, Chaos it's like what happens when a Space Marine goes too far into
goes to evil.
Yeah,
and even IG, because now they have cultists out there, which I love. I'm like, about time. You trying to tell me this whole time IG doesn't turn bad? Stop.
Yeah. So
they need to spread their numbers out there. But no, it's a really good game. And like I said, the lore is fantastic. A lot of thought. The game's been around for a long time, since Rogue Trader. My buddy Scott D'Agostino actually introduced me to this game, and I've never turned my back on it. I've always been a big fan of it. I constantly get people to come join us. We've been going up to different places, from Sarge's Comics to the Time Machine up here in Manchester, just to get games going. And the gaming community is fantastic. And like I said, the tools are out there, the videos, everything is there. There's no reason why you should suck at this hobby. None. No. There's none.
So stick around. We're going to do some news, but we'll be right back.
Yeah, buddy. All right, Gaming Faithful, we're back.
All right, yes, we are. We're just going to touch on just a couple of things out in the news there, gaming related. This came out in October. Comicbook.com ran the story. Wizard of the Coast buys gaming studio to focus on Dungeons & Dragons video games. Wizard of the Coast announced the purchase of Montreal-based 2K Games, with plans to have the studio focus on making games based on the popular Dungeons & Dragons franchise. Wizards of the Coast announced the purchase earlier today. Nothing with the publisher will be working on AAA games for its largest franchises, starting with Dungeons & Dragons. Toot Games is best known for Livelock, a top-down shooter game with a post-apocalyptic setting. Toot Games previously announced they were working on a new Dungeons & Dragons game earlier this year. There are some games that are already in process before this purchase. Obviously, Baldur's Gate 3 is being made by Larian Studios. I'm pretty excited for that. They made the Divinity game series. I wrote a little article on that when that came out. So it looks to me like Wizard of the Coast really wants to take a hands-on approach to the video games because like we said, with some of the Warhammer games, it's hit or miss.
Right.
There's a lot of great games.
But the hit ones.
And there's a lot of crap.
Us as
especially
fanboys,
the top-down stuff really kind of went bad.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Needs a comeback. Like,
but with us, like
games.
I said, as fanboys, Space Marine. I go back to it just because I was able to make my chapter when you can make your own. Remember, you can make these colors that you wanted to do.
The colors.
I was able to make my chapter, which was the half, which was the half silver, half orange. I was so stoked about that. Same thing with the Chaos guys. I could make my World Marine or my World Eaters the way I made them with the classic white and blue. So that was out there. Like as a fanboy, I loved it. You know what I'm saying? So as a D&D fanboy, I love this idea. I love this idea, and I hope it's done right because there are some great games out there right now. Skyrim, which obviously is based in the Forgotten Realms world.
Elder Scrolls has always been very Dungeons & Dragons inspired.
As a matter of fact, Elder Scrolls is a world now in D&D. You can actually go rolling around in Elder Scrolls if you really want to.
But you can also do Rick and Morty. So
yeah, there you go. That's oh my god.
Yeah, not knocking any Rick and Morty fans. I know it's really popular, but
I mean, hell, even the same idea with Stranger Things. You know what I'm saying? Like Stranger Things, they were playing D&D though. Like so, like why do I want to play D&D if a group playing D&D?
Yeah,
it's just I feel it. It's you got to make the money where the money is there. I'm actually really surprised they didn't have any more Baby Yoda stuff coming out for Christmas. You could have made a fortune with that.
Like all like back ordered to like June.
Right? I know, dude. Like y'all failed this. Like whoever your market major person was, they failed it. You should have seen Baby Yoda back in July and been like, yo, I want Baby Yoda merchandise. You
should have known this was going to be a thing.
I want baby merchandise now, okay? Baby Yoda panties, Baby Yoda. Yeah. I want Baby Yoda everywhere.
It's got to be on everything. Baby Yoda on my ass. Like they should have known it was going to be a thing. But.
I want this to happen. I want D&D to take some steps forward and make this, because all it does is just bring us more popularity. It just brings us that much closer.
I would like, I know we've personally talked about this, I would like to see, so R.A. Salvatore worked with Kurt Schillings and made that game.
A great game.
It was a great game.
It was a freaking great game. Me and my friends
Kingdoms of Amalon.
Yeah, me and my friends put hours into that. My character, I still love to this day. Like, the character creation was fantastic. The world immersion was fantastic. R.L. Salvador, and let's not forget, who's the artist? McFarlane. McFarlane did the art for that. A lot of the characters and the monster creation was...
you had all the pieces there.
You had a monster movie.
And what you had is just really bad management.
Bad publicity, bad management, bad the money.
It's kind of what happens when a baseball player decides he wants to make computer games. No disrespect to y'all who play baseball.
No, absolutely not. But he had no sense. But they gave him more right in there than he should have had.
That's the funny thing. He put together the right people.
Yes.
I mean, if you're going to make a fantasy game, there's only a couple people you're going to turn to.
And you did it
R.A. Salvatore is there.
And McFarlane, who is just... He's taken every aspect of every world and turned it into his own.
I would like to see, if you're going to do that, maybe get someone like R.A. Salvatore on your creative team, get the right programmers together. Because like I said, there's been a lot of hard garbage that came out with the Dungeons & Dragons name on it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, we can go through that list.
I have Tales of the Sword Coast or Legends of the Sword Coast, something like that. And...
hell, even the latest Elder Scrolls.
That was supposed to be the multiplayer online Dungeons and
Neverwinter
Dragons
Nights, which is out on stream.
Oh, yeah, they just redid that.
They just redid it again,
which is a good game.
Yeah, but how many times has they already done that? That game has been on my Xbox for 5 years.
They've had the Champion Edition, Diamond Edition, whatever.
For 5, dude.
And now they just redid it in high def. And
yeah,
stuff,
exactly. So it's like, I consider that a failure. Yeah, right now it's doing good. Right now it's same thing.
I wouldn't call that one a failure. Part 2 was.
Yeah, part 2.
Part 2 is definitely a failure, and I think I don't think it was because one of the things they did with promoting that one is that you're gonna be able to create your own module and run your own game. I think that was so complicated.
Idea. Well, it was a good
idea, but
it was too complicated. I was going to say what they brought to the table was a bad idea. Yeah. The finished product that they tried to sell us.
Here's the thing, like, because I tried, and obviously I know the game, I understand that.
Yes, absolutely.
Because you almost got to know a little programming to really make a module for that. And if anybody out there who has successfully pulled that off, I'd like to hear.
Bring it to us, please.
But I would but the single player game, I would call that a failure. I thought that was a great interpretation of at the time. The single player game, edition,
yes,
third
single player game. I'm talking about the multiplayer.
The multiplayer aspect was not great.
No,
the Neverwinter game.
You remember a game called Two Worlds?
Yes,
that was a. Once again, D&D based ideas. It wasn't a TSR, but they did incorporate TSR monsters because they asked permission to use some of these monsters.
And I'm sorry, I know you got a kick out of it. What was it? The Warriors of Ravenloft or whatever it was, that fighting game, and like Strahd is doing like Guile style backflips and stuff. Come on,
Lord Sloth was like Dulcie.
Was it Blood and something?
Blood and Magic or Blood and Fire
Blood and Steel
Blood and Steel. Warriors of Raven.
I'm just like, okay, Ravenloft. Because I played a Ravenloft game back in the day that I liked.
Yeah.
And then the second Ravenloft game, which used the mummy guy who's the lord of that desert area.
Oh
crap!
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I don't know. God,
he's your classic mummy. He's essentially your classic mummy.
He's the Lord of Ravenloft. Right. That one I didn't like so much, but the first one with Barovia I really liked.
That one was cool.
One came out, that fighting game, and I remember you were like you were chuckling and having a good time, just like. This is terrible.
Oh, it was terrible. It was just like when I played Street Fighter the movie game. Yeah, that was terrible. I was like,
what is Strahd doing? Is this like Sonic Boom?
Sonic Bat. Sonic Bat.
That was terrible. So, yeah, that was actually garbage. Then you have Baldur's Gate, which is a great game. Baldur's Gate 2 is an even better one.
Baldur's Gate,
Planescape was a good one.
I'd start playing 9 o'clock at night and wake up. I'd not even wake up. I'd start hearing birds chirping, and I'm like, my God, I've been playing this for 9 hours.
I played this game off the Dungeon Dragons.
What can I do for you?
Wasteland 2.
What can I do for you? What can I do for you?
Oh, God. I played Wasteland 2, which I really loved. That was a return to form for top down. Mm-hmm. The Pillars games are really good.
The area, not Area 51. The the alien one's done the same way. The top view, much like that Wastelands, and you can use the
Fallout.
Not Fallout.
Well, the original Fallout's
not
like that.
Fallout. But man, I can't think of it. Damn it. They just had like part 2 is like the alien invasion came on you. You actually had a group of humans that you can upgrade, and they work like soldiers. I'll find it for you. Yes, XCOM. Yes, okay. That one. That's another one that's like that. Really,
I like the top down. Turn-based
strategy-based,
thing. Right. Yeah, I like that.
Your tactics game.
They didn't do it. They were doing so poorly for a long time. It's making a comeback.
We forgot about them. Yeah.
It's making a comeback. I'm really looking forward to Baldur's Gate 3. Just that intro video with the Mind Flayer. I don't know what it is about the Mind Flayers. I'm just like consumed with them.
They're finally bringing them back. They're getting the just desserts they always do. They're a nasty race.
They're
a nasty race.
I love that whole like aliens concept of like an invading force because it's the same thing,
right?
So because
it's terrifying not being able to control yourself.
There's a couple feet
still being alive, but it's not you. You have no control.
Well, there was a couple people that watched that trailer that were like, "I don't get what's going on." I'm like, "Well, you understand the Mind Flayer and how they reproduce,
right?"
And it's like he turned into a Mind Flayer because they put a Mind Flayer. I forget what it's called,
larva,
whatever,
larva.
And it changes his whole body, and that's what was happening to him.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh.
Yeah. Now you're getting it.
And it's like, that's vile. And I'm like, it's beautifully vile.
It's fucking awesome.
You know, and it's like, that doesn't even touch on it, like some of the bigger mind flayers and the mutations that can happen during the transformation.
Chulu is supposed to be the ultimate mind flayer, gone beyond. So, but all the rumors.
I got
rumors.
Yeah, and kudos to Stranger Things for really putting the mind flayer back in the
forefront. I love that. Too, so. I love that, how they're doing that. Yeah, putting D&D in the forefront, too. There's a lot of things that put D&D.
Yeah, so Dungeons & Dragons, Wizards of the Coast taking charge of their own gaming properties can only be a good thing.
I think it's a great thing. Absolutely.
Unless they really just can't grasp the concept of making games.
Unless they hire the WWE creative staff to take care of their ideas. There you go. And before we end this one, I do want to bring up a question that I have, and it's been bugging me a little lately. I haven't yet watched the series, and I'm going to go out of my way to watch it. As a matter of fact, I'm
going to try to grab episode 1 today before finishing the Christmas
shopping. You told
shopping.
me to watch the Boys series, and I watched the Boys series, and I loved it. And if you haven't watched it, go to Amazon Prime, get it now, get Prime Video, and binge watch, because
yes, it goes by so quickly too.
It does.
Like, before you know it, it's like, I want more.
I want more. I do. But why The Witcher hate, people? Why is there so much hate for The Witcher? And this is the biggest title that's driving me crazy now. The Witcher is not the next Game of Thrones.
I don't get the comparison.
I don't get it either. Why are we even comparing a show that is pretty much based around a throne, a group of different groups trying to take over an Iron Throne, as opposed to, if you ever seen The Witcher, he's a lone he goes around doing his own thing. Yeah, he's a horn dog, and yeah, he does his own little thing on the side with women, and Lana in particular.
He's an imperfect character. It's his flaw.
Exactly. He's what we like to call an anti-hero.
I was about to say that too. Yeah.
He's a hero, but he's a reluctant hero. He does things that may seem heroic at times, but when he does things that kind of make you think that he's not a hero anymore, you knew it was there. So, like I said, I have yet to watch it, and I will. I have to go out of my way now and watch it, because they hate it right now.
We're big Henry Cavill fans too.
Thank you.
Love Henry Cavill.
Good call. And when I actually found out that he was getting this role, I was super stoked. And then I saw him.
No pun intended.
Super stoked. Yeah, you got it. But I saw, he looked the part. He looked great. You know what I'm saying? And I just can't wait to see.
From what I've seen, it looks like Netflix did a really good job with this.
Netflix has been doing good with all their stuff.
But let's keep real. There are a lot of people that. So you have a game as big as The Witcher, and The Witcher is huge. Or you had a game like what was that other one with the assassin?
Assassin's Creed. But that movie was terrible.
That movie was terrible. No, I'm sure it is. But
Michael
Fassbender.
Yep. Did great. He did great.
He's a good actor.
I liked him. I'm sorry. The movie was horrible.
I like
everywhere.
Here's the thing: I like Timothy Olyphant a lot, but
when
he did Hitman was terrible. So you can hand the greatest actor a pile of crap, and
it's going to be a pile of crap.
What's the expression? You can't turn chicken shit into chicken salad or whatever.
It's true.
So I mean, obviously,
it'd be brown chicken salad.
Yeah, you hand an actor crap, you're going to get crap.
Exactly.
So and as Michael Caine often talks about Jaws the Revenge. They're like, why'd you do Jaws the Revenge? And he was like, it paid for my house.
Yeah.
So
why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's hello. If the money's going to be there, tell me you would say no.
I wouldn't.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think there's an actor out there. I mean, I could say Johnny Depp has been lucky in the fact that it just kind of seems like every role that he's
there's certain people, like you put them in a movie, they're going to make the movie a hit.
Right. Right. And maybe that's just it. Maybe Johnny's just been lucky in the fact that every single thing he's kind of come across has been his thing. And then you have people like Nick Cage, where it just kind of feels like he does kind of, he just kind of grabs at things, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll take it. How much? Yeah, I'll take that,
Oh, come on, man. Ghost Rider's going to hit soon.
Vin Diesel,
matter of time.
Last Witch Hunter, anybody?
I didn't even watch that. It didn't interest me at all.
I had to. I just had to see what it was about, man.
I don't know. Maybe it just shows up. I just watched Bumblebee just because it was there.
I did that too, and I was like,
I liked that. I liked how the Transformers looked, but the movie overall, I was like,
Transformers transformed cool too.
Yeah,
they transformed cool. I like how they incorporated like the old look.
And Bumblebee played the touch which I thought was funny.
That was funny. And the other one, that the touch with freaking Captain America, get that one too.
Kind of like, definitely watch that funny video. So yeah, basically what I'm saying is people are so protective of some of these video game properties that they're going to attack
no matter what
something before they see it.
No matter what, yes.
You know, or I don't think they're so wrapped up in the action of the game. I don't think they even pay attention to what the character really is.
Because I was going to say, how can you even compare it to games of like? There is. It's like you don't even know who the Witcher character is. It's like you don't even know who the White Wolf is. You don't get it. You know what I'm saying? You don't know. It's like, okay, what? Because he's got a wolf, now he's one of the.
They're not even selling the show as a Game of Thrones. So
I didn't think so. I didn't think so.
I read a couple articles and it kept bringing up Game of Thrones. Like,
multiple articles have been bringing up, this is not the next Game of Thrones. Well, no crap. I didn't expect it to be a Game of Thrones. If I wanted it to be a Game of Thrones, I'd be looking for the next Game of Thrones.
FYI, I've never watched an episode of Game of Thrones.
Me either. So I won't say I haven't watched it because I have seen like some fight scenes. Obviously,
I've seen clips.
The Mountain versus the Red Viper. That was one of my favorites. That one was really cool. What a cool.
I'm skeptical with HBO shows because usually when these shows end, everybody complains about the ending. So
and then exactly
I get afraid to get wrapped up into it.
I watched the last one. It was horrible. It was black. Yeah. It was blackness. It's like, did you do this on purpose? Because at this point, you guys making enough money where
they took a clue from The Sopranos and they kind of ended it the same way. Dexter, I love that show. That ended horribly. So it's like I get scared to invest in shows sometimes because I hate disappointment.
Because none of that, you put that much time, and that's the only thing we really have as people is time. Right. And you just wasted a crap load of our time. So I really think people, like you said, I think they're just shooting out things just to hate because they want to be hate.
Yeah. Well, I prefer to just look at everything with a fresh eye. I don't care what it is, and I don't like to compare it.
Thank you.
You know, unless they're selling it that way. So Stranger Things, perfect example. They sold it as, we're bringing back the 80s horror.
And we're
putting the music in it. We're putting the cheesy dialogue in it. We're doing all of that. We're going to do Goonies meets
We're going to sell it.
We're going to sell it. Like, that's how they sold it.
We're going to own it.
And so you went in there with that nostalgia, and they do it well.
Yeah.
Okay. They didn't sell this as Game of Thrones. They sold this as The Witcher. They did make it more centered towards the books.
Yes, that's what I heard.
Than the video game.
That's what I've heard.
But clearly, Henry Cavill looks like the video game Witcher.
Absolutely.
You know, the white long
He's iconic.
hair and stuff.
It's an iconic look.
Right. So obviously they did take a lot of that from the game.
And of course, I think he's got to have the orange eyes too, the amber eyes. I just haven't seen a close up.
I haven't either. Most of the clips they've been showing now, he's from the back and whatever. So
or he just turns around real quick.
I'm looking forward to watching it. Like I said, I love Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill is Superman.
Yes, he is. He's always going to be Superman. I mean, besides Christopher Reeve is always going to be symbolized, in my opinion, as the first Superman.
Well, he was our Superman.
Right. He was our Superman.
For the longest time.
Thank you.
For the longest time. And now Henry
Cavill
Cavill
owns it. He owns it. He's like...
and again, great actor getting shit material.
Yes.
Give him... like, Warner Brothers, if you're listening, and you're like, let's have... Now, I love... oh, my God, what's his name? From Creed and all that.
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan. Oh, my God, I feel horrible. I love Michael B. Jordan.
He's a great actor.
And
Fruitvale Station, so underrated.
Yeah, I don't want him to be Superman.
No.
He doesn't want to be Superman.
No.
Like he said point blank, I appreciate that, but I'm really looking into doing something different.
Yes.
Okay, so he doesn't want to get leftovers.
He really
wants
liked
something
doing
new.
The enemy in Black Panther. They've been talking about
bringing
him. Yeah, they've been talking about
Warmonger.
Hatemonger.
Hatemonger.
They've been talking about somehow bringing him back, and he's like, I'm all for it. Love that character. I love playing that character.
He's fantastic.
Yeah, great enemy. He's one of those enemies that you felt for. At the end, you kind of almost felt you didn't want him to die. You kind of you wanted him to learn his lesson.
Yeah.
You wanted him to make that step, but you didn't want to see him go away. You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, those are the best villains.
Yes, they are.
The best villains are the ones you sympathize with.
Yeah.
Heath Ledger's Joker.
That's why I said everybody with Infinity War, that they made Thanos likable. Yeah. You almost felt for him. But then Infinity War, or Endgame, I'm sorry, made him the monster he was supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? When he was like, I'm making this personal, and I'm going to enjoy every last minute of it.
Well, that's the depth of the character too, because obviously, spoiler alert. So he's from a different time.
Yes,
and he comes from the past
when he's still very hungry too,
and realizes, okay, whatever I didn't do it well enough. I'm just gonna kill you all.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
bully on me.
Yeah, I was gonna leave half of you behind. That was a mistake. I'm going to kill you all, and I'm going to like it.
Right, exactly.
I'm gonna allow. Well, I think he always liked it, but he's like, I'm gonna allow myself to enjoy.
Yeah,
this.
I'm gonna enjoy this.
Where it's like he kind of, he obviously he enjoyed.
Well,
what
enjoying
he was doing
and liking are two different things.
Right.
I can sit there and like something, but I can enjoy something.
He was denying himself the pleasure of doing it and really convincing himself what he was doing was for the greater good.
Right.
So now he's like, you know what? No, I'm going to kill you all.
Yeah, and that's it.
But those are the best villains.
No, they are. They absolutely are. So
yeah,
like
Witcher,
I said,
anti-hero people. He's not a likable guy. He's a reluctant hero.
He's going to do some stupid things. He's going to do some things that piss you off.
Right.
And that's just what this character is going to be.
It's going to be part of the journey of the character.
So my homework to you guys is I'm going to go out and I'm actually going to watch some of these episodes. I didn't think it was out just yet. I thought it was actually beginning of January it was coming out. But so it's not too bad. So wow,
they put
came out.
They put it up against Star Wars.
Yeah, Mandalorian's a tough thing to fight against right now, man. Yeah. And like we just brought up Baby Yoda, you can't.
Another good show. I like Mandalorian.
Oh, it's fantastic, man. Great job. Really great.
So
job.
New episode of Mandalorian I think is out. They got The Witcher plus Star Wars. The movie is out. Oh God, so much to do. It's a great day to be in this business.
It is a great day. All right, guys. Well, we want to thank you all once again for tuning in to our episode of Basement Quest Part 2. We're going to just keep bringing these out, man. We hope you really enjoy this. Make sure you guys are subscribed if you're not already on YouTube to get those notifications. As soon as we come on, you'll get that little bling.
Hit the bell.
And then it'll be there, and you'll know, oh, hey, new Basement Quest, and get on there. Make sure you're liking. Make sure you're sharing, and make sure you're commenting, please. Like he said, give us a thumbs up first, and then go down there and tell us how you think we could have done things a little bit better. As soon as we're on Apple, we need those reviews. That's the big thing, because the reviews are going to push us to a whole other level. If we don't get these reviews, we stay here. And trust me, we know. We've been in this business for a little bit now. We know what it feels like to kind of start getting a little rise, and then you just kind of stay there like a toilet seat, just kind of floating there. We wanna bring it up, and it's not that hard. It's not that hard.
And we'd love for you to participate. We have a forum, basementquest.com. Check out the forum, start a discussion, talk about today's episode, talk about last episodes.
And we'll be there. We'll be there with our comments, and we'll be there with smiley faces on and answers to any questions you might have.
Are you interested in writing content for us? Send us an email at gamemaster@basementquest.com. You can contribute to the blog.
I like that. I like that. That's a great idea.
Yeah, you know what? Look, this is what we're looking for. We need some people who play Pathfinder. If you got some insight on that, we don't really play it much, but if you got
Age
some
of Sigmar, like I said earlier on this show, haven't done a whole lot of that.
Any and all games that you would like to write
that
some
Delta
stuff
Green,
about,
we're really interested in
we're
checking
that out.
If you're a big Delta Green fan,
any of the Arkham Asylum games, interesting content on that.
If you've played any of these new Palladium ones that just came out, Dead Rain, Ed is obviously he's starting a campaign right now too. But bring that stuff in. We love it. We love the content. We love shuffling through this, and we love to see all the different ideas that you guys have. And like I said, we're gonna have tips, tricks, lots of things on our website. I'm going to start doing a nice little setup here pretty soon where every month I'm going to be doing a specific terrain detail. The new thing that we got coming out, we call it the hologram battle scene.
The holodeck.
The holodeck battle scene.
It's our own version of Marvel's What If.
Exactly. We're going to pit up some people. We're going to come up with our own system on how to do this. It's going to be a once-a-month thing, and I'm going to actually be making terrain specifically for those battles, and I'll be going on YouTube, making the terrain, painting the terrain, and having the tutorial available to you. So if you want to make that specific piece, it's going to be there.
And the best way to get notified about all this is please go to the website, www.basementquest.com. Sign up for the groups. We'll put YouTube. All notifications through there.
Yes.
YouTube for videos, obviously. But everything will be centralized to the website, easy to find. And as we're on more and more platforms, we'll announce on Twitter. I'm at Eddie Jakes on Twitter.
At Portugal Viking.
Portugal Viking, where he will be ranting about the Vikings. He'll be ranting about WWE. And
yes, I will.
Sometimes talk about gaming.
Absolutely. I'm all over the place on that stuff.
So.
And just be loving this, guys, because we are so excited to be bringing this to you every single week. Like, we got nothing else for you except for good gaming fun.
All right, I'm Eddie.
I'm Mike.
And
this is Basement Quest.
Basement Quest, and we will see you next time.
Have a great gaming day.
And a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Good call.